Israel-Iran War News Live Update. U.S. State Secretary Blinken meets Netanyahu. Israel-Hamas War Live Updates. In Jerusalem, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken urged Netanyahu to send more supplies to Gaza and Hamas to accept an agreement to end bloodshed and return hostages. In the latest escalation of hostilities over the Israel-Hamas war, Colombian President Gustavo Petro said that diplomatic relations with Israel will end on May 2. Petro again called Israel's Gaza siege genocide. Blinken, who arrived in Gaza earlier, spoke to media inside a Jordan Hashemite charity organization facility that receives U.S. aid. He said humanitarian help in the densely crowded enclave is improving, but more needs to be done to ensure continued delivery. "I'm now allowed to go to Israel tomorrow and discuss with the Israeli government to meet the standard of making sure people have what they need," Blinken added. "And I'll do that tomorrow directly with Prime Minister Netanyahu and other Israeli cabinet members," he said. A month after U.S. President Joe Biden warned Netanyahu that Washington's policy could change if Israel fails to address civilian harm, humanitarian suffering, and aid worker safety, Blinken will meet with Netanyahu on AID. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken meets Netanyahu. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem and encouraged Hamas to accept an agreement to end violence and release hostages home. According to Reuters, Hamas thanks Colombia for breaking ties with Israel. Statement. Hamas called Colombia's break with Israel over Gaza victory. "We warmly appreciate the decision of Colombian President Gustavo Petro, which we consider a triumph for the sacrifices of our people and their rightful cause," Hamas added, urging other Latin American nations to follow suit. Over Gaza war, Colombia's president says country would terminate diplomatic relations with Israel. Colombian President Gustavo Petro stated Thursday that his government will break diplomatic relations with Israel, escalating tensions over the Israel-Hamas war. Petro again called Israel's Gaza siege genocide. He equated Israel's Gaza operations to Nazi Germany and banned military sales. In a speech during an International Workers' Day march in Bogotá, Petro threatened to break diplomatic relations with Israel due to its murderous ruler. "If Palestine dies, humanity dies, and we won't let it." Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz slammed Petro's Platform X comments. He added history will remember that Gustavo Petro decided to side with the most disgusting monsters known to mankind who burned babies, murdered toddlers, raped women and kidnapped innocent citizens. Israel state watchdog asks Netanyahu, military leader, to help in October 7 probe. On Wednesday, Israel's state auditor urged Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the military chief to participate with an official inquiry into Hamas' October 7 strike on Israel that started the Gaza conflict. In the early days of the war, State Comptroller Netanyahu Engelman said he would investigate the October 7 attack, the worst day in 75 years. In December, he said his office would leave no stone unturned investigating the multi-system failures before, during, and after October 7, and that most of its 2024 audit plans will center on the probe. After more than 6 months of war, the citizens of Israel are entitled to answers regarding all those responsible for the failure, and the state comptroller is determined to provide them, Engelman wrote in letters to Netanyahu and Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi. According to his office's Facebook post, Blinken said Hamas' rejection of accord would prove doesn't care about Palestinians. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken urged Hamas to accept a ceasefire and hostage release plan Wednesday, saying a rejection would indicate it does not care about ordinary Palestinians. He told reporters, "If Hamas genuinely cares about the Palestinian people and wants to see an immediate reduction of their suffering, it should take this deal. If not, I think that's more indication it doesn't care." Blinken, Israel made crucial hostage deal compromises. Wednesday, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said, Israel has made extremely major compromises over the hostage arrangement. Blinken visits Israel authorities and presses Hamas to agree Gaza truce. On Wednesday, U.S. top diplomat Antony Blinken pushed Hamas to accept a Gaza truce plan despite an Israeli warning that the army will continue attacking the Palestinian militant group. "There's a very powerful proposition on the table right now," Blinken said in Israel on his 6th Middle East crisis tour since October. Hamas must agree and complete this. Hamas said it will reply within a very short period to negotiators' 40-day ceasefire and exchange of a few dozen hostages for many Palestinian detainees. The group's goal is an end to this conflict, senior Hamas leader Suhail al-Hindi told AFP by phone, contradicting Israel's hawkish Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Israeli settlers ambushed Jordanian assistance convoys to Gaza, per Jordan. Jordan's foreign ministry said that Israeli settlers attacked 2 humanitarian supply convoys heading for Gaza on Wednesday. Both convoys reached Israeli-besieged Gaza, the ministry claimed. Settlements targeted 2 Jordanian relief convoys transporting food, flour and other humanitarian goods to the Gaza Strip, the ministry claimed without elaborating. Israeli police arrested 4 individuals who blocked assistance vehicles, heading to Gaza near Ma'ale Adumim, a large West Bank settlement, according to Honanu, a legal aid charity. Hamas official demands permanent Gaza ceasefire. An official with Hamas said Wednesday that the Palestinian militant organization will respond to an Israeli truce proposal for Gaza within a very short period, but that any truce must be permanent. Hamas may propose a 40-day truce and the swap of scores of hostages for more Palestinian detainees. Senior Hamas spokesman Suhail al-Hindi told AFP the party will give its reaction clearly within a very short period, but did not specify when. President, ICC against Israel threatens democracy. On Wednesday, Israel's president encouraged allies to oppose ICC prosecution of his country for its Gaza war, warning of a threat to democracies worldwide. President Isaac Herzog met with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Tel Aviv and praised Israel's legal system and rule of law, denouncing an ICC inquiry of Israel's conduct in the Palestinian area. Using the International Criminal Court against Israel, which is battling terror, is a clear and present danger to democracies and free peace-loving states who follow international law, he told journalists. All our allies and friends must oppose and reject such actions. France's foreign minister, Israel-Gaza truce needs effort. Egyptian authorities in Cairo updated France's foreign minister on Wednesday that negotiations for a truce between Israel and Gaza were ongoing. We came to coordinate truce efforts. France and its Arab partners want Israel to stop this offensive in Rafah, Stephen Sejourn remarked after meeting Egyptian colleague Sameh Shoukry. In the event of a truce, he anticipated that Hamas would release 3 French-Israeli dual nationals.